Here we go. Hello, and welcome to Ready Row USA podcast. I'm Tara Morgan, your host today. I'm joined by our regular correspondent, Mark Wilson of the All-American Rowing Camps in AccuDoc. Hi, Mark.
Hello, Tara. How are you? Hello, everyone.
I'm good. So I'm best known as founder of Seize the Oar Foundation. I'm also a rower and a coach out of Vashon Island Rowing in Washington State. Our producer and regular host is Charlotte Pierce of Community Rowing in Boston, but I'll be your host today. Let's see. So today we're focusing on Learn to Row, and a big event that's happening this weekend is U.S. Rowing's Learn to Row Day, National Learn to Row Day on June 1st. And Mark and I are going to be sharing a lot of tips and tricks to help make the most of that event at your club and beyond this summer. So Ready Row USA is a part of International Rowing Chat Network, and you can subscribe to receive notifications of upcoming shows, send in your news tips, and join the community by visiting the website. And as we continue our regular Ready Row USA broadcasts featuring the best of rowing news, gadgets, gear, and gifts from clubs, coaches, vendors, and rowers like you, we invite you to visit the rowing.chat website, sign up to receive notifications of upcoming shows, send in your news tips. Did I already say this? I think I did. Great. I think we're on the same page. How's it going, Mark?
Excellent. We are super. And National Learn to Row Day and Learn to Row in general and learning about rowing is what we're going to talk about today. But we are also sponsored by some fabulous companies, and we want to just bring those to everyone's attention. The first one is Not Just Strong for a Girl, and all of our sponsors are offering you, our subscribers, discounts on their products and services. So you can check those out at our website. You can use the various coupon codes that are listed on each vendor. So please feel free to look through those as you go along. Another one of our vendors is the book called Mind Games by Annie Vernon, and she will even have you could possibly win a personally signed book of hers. Whoa. Which is pretty cool. And it's on bloomsbury.com. And again, the website for the discount codes is rowing.chat/sponsors. So you can check those out. You want to take the next sponsor there?
Absolutely. Sarah? Bringing your best game to practice for the ladies includes wearing the best active bra. We've got Rose and Thorn active bras as a sponsor of our podcast. And again, rowing.chat/sponsors to go check out how you can get the best fit in the boat.
And I talk about where to bring an oar handle to as the base of your sports bra, whether or not you're a man or a woman, whether you're a new or an old rower, talking about sitting up tall and bringing those thumbs right into the base of your sports bra. And I would be happy to wear a Rose and Thorn active bra. So
just for demo purposes, right?
Demo purposes. I'd be looking good.
So I always say heart rate monitor strap level.
Oh, you're so PC there. That's so nice.
I have to say, though, my latest is that I'd say, okay, right under your boobies, right? And this was nixed by my colleagues at Vashon Rowing Club. I thought, well, right. So, hey, if you're joining us live, you're welcome to ask questions, offer comments, grab that episode hashtag to get yourself some rowing gear and keep the conversation going. If you're not watching live, all these show notes, all the cool links, all the cool contact information, how to get a hold of us and ask questions and discuss is going to be posted later. But I want to do a plug for my Learn to Row page, or my Learn to Row Facebook page. So I started this Facebook page because I think a big part of why we have challenges with Learn to Row is we all do different things and we're all trying different things. So I started this Learn to Row page specifically for coaches and program managers to riff and discuss, like, do you have the barbecue? Do you do the potluck? Do you do a graduation party? Do you start with sweep? Do you start with sculling? So all those questions that we have that Mark and I are going to go over today, we can continue that conversation as well. I also have posted the Learn to Row classes for over 100 clubs across the world on this page. I've just collect them every day, from Glebe Rowing Club in Scotland to, the other day was Mystic, Connecticut. So check it out.
That's excellent. I think the whole idea of what we're trying to do with all of the rowing chat shows is to share information, put information into a location, and what you're doing, Tara, is fantastic. So good job on that. And I get asked all the time about Learn to Row because I know what I do, and and everyone's a little bit different based upon the people and the numbers of people and the location. So it's all a little different, but it's all basically putting the oar in the water and pushing and making the boat go somewhere. So when you can see that you're doing it in South Africa or in wherever, in Italy or Washington or Florida or whatever, I think it all kind of unifies the whole sport. So understanding what we're trying to do and trying to make it fun, and have people at the end of a Learn to Row or a Discover Rowing or an About Rowing event, whatever, want to come back for more. And I think that's what we're both really adamantly trying to present to you as listeners or folks watching this live, as to what is the overall goal. And the overall goal should be to have people that want to come back tomorrow and row again and row.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. When I was first hired to do Learn to Row about 10 years ago, they told me that they asked me to do it because I was such an evangelist for the sport. So I'm, recruiting people in coffee shops. I'm like, you look like you should row. And one of the things that I always would say is my motivating factor, or my ultimate outcome, was a happy, confident, motivated rower who could walk into any boathouse in the world and know what the equipment is called, be able to just jump right in and at least give it a try and not feel like they're always at a deficit. So if you had a rower, I had one who graduated and went on to a family trip to Belgium and felt confident enough to reach out on Masters Rowers International Facebook page and say, hey, I'm coming to Belgium, and went out on a lovely row in a quad with a bunch of people in Belgium, and just had a very, 3 months of Learn to Row. But
that's great.
Came out of it and really felt like there was something to it. So I agree. Yes. So part of what Mark and I are doing is doing the collegial thing and chatting. And we both seem to agree that a big part of us rowing, Learn to Row success is what I call the receiving end, and what Mark likes to call the customer, remembering who the customer is. So Mark, you want to see more about that?
Let's talk a little bit about that. I think every Learn to Row has to have that in their goal. So whether or not you've got 4 people at a Learn to Row or 40 or 100, you have to kind of start with some basics, but understand that everybody in your group does not have the same goal that you may. So discussing the goals in advance and letting people know what they're going to be seeing, what they're going to be doing, and just making it as transparent as possible, I think, is really, really important, and making it fun. I did a little outline for some folks up in North Carolina last week, actually, as they were getting ready for their Learn to Row, and I think I put in my little notes about 15 times I said, make it fun. So if people are smiling, that they're going to come back, or hopefully have another chance to come back. So whether or not you're starting on the erg, or starting in the boathouse, or starting on the dock, or starting in a barge, or wherever you happen to be starting, make sure you're having fun, and know that the goals are not the same for everybody. So make that clear to people when they're starting. Some people may feel like they want to be competitive. Some people may want to be purely recreational, and some may not come back, but they want to have a good time, and maybe a bucket list item purely and solely, and that's it. And they want to check that box. That's right, Tara. And that's great. If they have a good time and they've checked that box and they know it, then that's great. You've done your job, and that's important. But then there's others that want to come back and do rowing at different levels, and making sure that all of them are welcome and all of them are given the attention that they deserve, and so that you are representing your club and your sport. Even more importantly, I think, is representing the sport of rowing in a very positive way.
Right, which we know as longtime rowers is not a all-star sport. I think that one of my favorite challenges about Learn to Row is you take a group of adults who are CEOs in their own lives, right? They have a lot of competency, like they love to be competent, they love to be good at stuff. And here they come in, and now they are really bad at something that they have a lot of things they're not in control of, right? What we're doing that day, the Mother Nature, the boat set, the fact that they're 6 feet tall and they're sitting next to someone who's 5 feet tall, which is a master's class, right? It's like, woo, you got these big things. And being able to distill the essence of it down to technique and skill and being listened to and being heard. And yes, some people are a bucket list person and some people are not. But I think like you said, respecting all of those approaches, but also teaching adults how to learn something new is kind of a special skill. And that's why we both agree that you shouldn't put your least experienced coach into the Learn to Row coaching spot. On my Learn to Row Facebook page, I wrote an article about how to hire a Learn to Row coach. And I think some of the times you really are missing a really obvious.
I think I just lost Tara for a minute. She's going to come back. She's going to come back in just a second. I'm going to follow up with what she was just saying in my own analogy on the coaching level side of things. Here's the example that I bring up all the time, and I'll make this real short. Say you are learning tennis, for example, and you want to learn how to tennis. You've never played tennis before, and you go to the tennis club, and they're having a national learn to tennis day, and you're taken out to the back lot, and you're giving a racket that maybe has some broken strings, maybe it's a wooden racket, and then you're given the net is swooped down. There's holes in the net. You're given a bucket of balls, but they don't have any fur on them, and they barely bounce. And then you're given a pair of shoes that maybe you're size 14s and you're a size 10. And then you're expected to learn how to play tennis. And I think that's the approach that unfortunately happens oftentimes in rowing, is that we give the new people who are our new customer, our new hopeful member, our new program participant, we give them this old, heavy, nasty boat with shoes that are way too big and old wooden oars and so on. And it's not, and the kid who maybe has only been coaching for 3 months or 2 months or whatever, and we expect them to have a good time and come back. So that's my analogy, and I think that's just one of those things that we have to think about as we're setting up our Learn to Row programs and our opportunities for new people to come onto our sport. I think Tara's back.
Yeah, and similarly, one thing that I learned early on with Learn to Row is you always have masters who want to volunteer and help, right? And I learned early on that you really need to vet those people because sometimes masters folks can be a little bit enthusiastic and helpful and will actually detract from what you're trying to do as a coach. So what I like to do is I like to gather up my master's volunteers. I say, thank you so much for coming. And I should know them well enough to know that that person should totally not be the coxswain. That person should totally be the bow person, right? To help turn the boat. But you have to sit them into a group and say, here's the deal. I'm the only voice that they're going to hear today. It's my voice. Do not coach inside the boat. Do not give any feedback, because they get that noise. The learners get that noise in their head, and I had a woman walk out of Learn to Row it's like the second day of Learn to Row. She walked out because the coxswain was yelling at her, 3 seat, 3 seat, 3 seat. The woman behind her was being helpful and giving her feedback. And I was trying to coach, not seeing any of that. And she left. And so I think Learn to Row could be a great way to grow your master's community and really build connection and provide your masters with an opportunity to be ambassadors of your club and ambassadors of your mission. But sometimes you need to handpick them. I'll be really honest with you. You need to handpick them sometimes.
Those are very good points.
This image that you're seeing right now, this was last Thursday here on Vashon Island. And this is all 13 people in the Learn to Row class carrying this 8. That was their first time carrying the 8. There's no shame in having 13 people carry an 8 at all.
That's fantastic. And nobody felt inhibited because everybody was doing their part, and that you're so right, Tara, that and they're all smiling, I'm sure, at this point, and feeling like, wow, this isn't so bad, instead of feeling like there's 8 people carrying a big, heavy, old fiberglass boat or something like that. So
totally.
It's so great. That's so awesome.
And I wanted to talk about the bucket list side of things. The picture that you see to the right, that woman is about 6 feet tall. And she was close to 90 years old. And she's part of a book club that read The Boys in the Boat here in Seattle. This is called the Women's University Club. And they came down because they wanted to just put an oar in their hand. They did dockside rowing. They didn't go out. She refused to get in the boat. I had to talk her into the boat. And that's her face when she took her first stroke ever. Look at the joy on her face. That just like made
you look pretty happy. You look pretty happy too. So
I was ecstatic. I love that kind of stuff. I'm into it. So let's talk a little bit about skills. And when we look at the big picture for Learn to Row, yeah, we're teaching them technique. Yeah, we're teaching them skills. But what kind of things do you feel like make for a successful program after the fact, after the class is over?
Yeah, I think that's really important as part of your goals, and within your own program, making sure that the goals that you're setting are important for the outcome. So whether or not the people are going to become competitive rowers or recreational rowers, or there's an actual program that's called Learn to Row 2, which is something I really propose and are happy to supply, is that idea of Learn to Row 2. But my goals are for people to be comfortable in a boat, and to be able to put the boat where they want to put it, or where they should put it. So I think boat handling skills are super important, and also just being comfortable in knowing how to move around in a boat, or having the boat move around them. So whether or not the rating is important to some people, to me, that's completely irrelevant. I could care less on what the rating is at the end of a Learn to Row, but I want people to be comfortable in various seats. So if I was doing a Learn to Row with scullers, because I'm mostly a sculling coach at this point in my career, I like to move people around. So every time, we go out differently, I'd want to have the stroke be then the 3, or maybe 3 become bow, or whatever. So everybody is comfortable in the different seats, if they're in a quad or doubles, for example. But I think being comfortable in the boat and being able to understand how boats move is most important. And I mean move by like adjusting points and understanding how current works, how wind works, and those kind of things, which very often are overlooked. And in situations like your picture here, I'm sure these folks didn't really pull themselves onto a buoy, right? Yeah. There's some wind going on here and things like that. So you have to understand the environment. And I think that's all about being smart out in boats and understanding how the boats work and move and stuff.
Yeah. So in my 10 years of doing this, I've always taught sweep for Learn to Row. And I've had classes as big as 22 people. And in my mind, the reason that I do sweep is so that I can keep track of them a little bit better. But you have to be careful with the sweep stuff, because you may inadvertently always have someone on port or always have someone on starboard. So I learned early on that you have to tell your students, let me know if I keep putting you on one side or keep putting you in the same seat, or, because I've got 22 people to manage. So right. It looks like we need to start wrapping up. Any last thoughts about gadgets or gear?
I wanted to give me one more point here on your point about sweep. I had a club. I worked with a club, and they were a sculling only club, completely only sculling. Like all they did was sculling, except their Learn to Row. And their Learn to Row was sweep.
That's
and I'm
random.
Like, it was crazy. I was like, why in the world? And it was numbers. Well, if we have 4 people in our Learn to Row class, well, then we put 2 experienced people in a sweep in the bow and 2 experienced in the stroke seat or stroke pair. And then our new people go in the middle. And I'm like, you're a sculling club.
Right.
Put them in a quad.
Where did they get a sweep boat from?
Well, they had one. I mean, they only used it for Learn to Row. And it was kind of silly. So again, thinking about the goals of the club.
Yeah.
What are you trying to do? And you can, most coaches can put 4 brand new rowers into a quad and be moving pretty well within a couple of weeks,
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk a little bit about gadgets and gear, because rowing chat loves the gadgets and gear. My favorite thing is to combat what I call learning deafness. So people who normally are competent hearing individuals, when they get into an 8 on the water, suddenly can't hear you. So I use the Blue Ocean megaphone. I love the Blue Ocean. Now, if you're in a spot where you have noise ordinance laws for early mornings or evenings, or you have time constraints for amplified sound, be careful. The Blue Ocean is very powerful, but it's a really good tool. You're looking right at your student, you're motioning, but you can also give a good piece of feedback. What do you got, Mark?
And I'm old school, so I use a plastic megaphone, the cheerleading megaphone, because if I really get frustrated, I can bang it on the boat deck, and then it doesn't break, and it's very
or on your head.
Yeah.
You just put it on your head. Like,
the other thing for Learn to Row that I think is super valuable is a video camera. There's no better learning than seeing yourself, because everybody knows that they're perfect when they're rowing. But then you can show them a quick video of themselves rowing. And nowadays it's so easy, whether or not you have an actual video camera or your cell phone or an iPad or whatever, but showing at least a little bit of rowing, of them rowing. And sometimes it's going to be great, and sometimes everybody's going to laugh, but everybody's going to have fun and learn from watching themselves row those first few strokes. And what a better take home than pictures and video of them rowing on that first outing, or first sessions of their rowing career. I think that's so important.
So Mark and I are gonna there's gonna be some great show notes that are gonna go with this particular podcast. There's tons of tips and tricks that we didn't even get to, that 'cause I love Learn to Row. I think it's so damn fun. Come on out to Vashon Island, hang out with me. I got Learn to Row happening all summer. It's super fun. Hope everybody has a great event this weekend. Look for the show notes afterwards, and then if you want to win a prize, we have a hashtag RRUSA. Not sure what the prize is this week.
Oh, what the prize? It'll be something great, I'm sure.
Totally.
So I'll put a little plug in too, and I'm not going to be on Vashon Island this summer, but I'm going to Croatia on Saturday. So I'm going to be taking some people to go learn how to row better in Croatia. And also, if you're interested in going to Portugal in November, right at the end of the fall head racing season, if you'd like to go to Portugal with me and learn how to row
I'll go.
better, come on and check us out at allamericanrowingcamp.com.
Great. That's awesome, Mark. So thanks to everyone who makes this podcast possible, especially Rebecca Careau of rowing.chat and Nancy Deisner, who provides our research, visuals, and makes us all super cozy doing this event. And thanks to Mark from All American Rowing Camp and Charlotte Pierce of Pierce Press for joining us and making this possible today. We love this podcast. Be sure to subscribe, send your friends, send your notes, and all of that.
And send your coaches.
Send your coaches.
Yeah.
And next time on Rowing Chat, where is that? Where's our next time slide?
Oh gosh, I forgot what next time is.
We're going to look.
Next time is going to be talking, I think, about the end of the spring season. I think that's what we're going to be talking about next time. And then the time after that, we're going to be talking about careers in rowing, not just coaching, but all the other careers in rowing that are out there. And some people may have some that we haven't thought about. So again, if you think you have something interesting, send it to us and we'll be happy to chat about it in future episodes.
Yeah, and happy National Learn to Row Day, folks. It's personally my national holiday. I love it. Okay.
Great.